Okay, so here we are, YouTubers and Fallout fans. Season 2, episode 7's dropped, and it's the Handoff. Now, this episode was pretty crazy to me. We've seen a lot more of Steph's backstory. Norm is back. I love Norm. Glad he's back. As well as we finally get to see inside the Lucky 38, as well as an epic Deathclaw battle with an NCR power armor, which I've never seen, but I was fanboying over and pretty much drooling on. Now I've got some Easter eggs, some predictions, and my thoughts of this episode. Now let's get stuck into it. Alright, now straight off the bat, the first one I want to talk about is Steph. Now I had a feeling about her from the beginning, and she seemed like she was, you know, pretty capable of doing anything, especially when you seen her in that first scene, or in the first season, where she actually takes down a raider after she got her eye taken out. Now, I always thought she had ulterior motives in the vault, and I think they're definitely, my theories are going to lead out to be right, I feel. But you get to see Steph in this one, you actually get to see a bit of her backstory. And the original bit of her backstory, you actually get to see her and her mum escaping from the Iranian city internment camp in Canada, which I feel would have to do a little bit with the resource wars. And during their escape, her mum gets wounded and ends up having to be left where she is, and she tells Steph to continue on, do whatever she has to do to survive.
There's a flood coming, and you keep your head above that water any way you can.
Even necessarily if that means kill. And a little bit further on, you get to see that, yeah, she's definitely not afraid to do that. And before she even, I feel, crosses the border properly, she's already got 2 kills under her belt, and she's already in America pretty much and heading towards doing something to step herself up. So I find it's funny just how small a world it is in Fallout, because in another little flashback to Steph's backstory, you actually get to see her working in the Lucky 38. Obviously, I'm not too sure if she was like, you know, this lady that cleans up the room or whatever, but you see her in the scene with Cooper Howard, and she's actually asking Cooper Howard on how to, in fact, get a job at Vault-Tec, and Cooper Howard's not really interested because at this stage, they've got Hank passed out in a laundry bin, ready to wheel him out, and pretty much Cooper Howard says to her, ask him. She sort of looks down at Hank, gives him a little smile, and wheels him out. And then that's really curious on, then the next thing you know, she's in a vault and she's taking over a vault, and everything seems to change. She really wanted Hank's lockbox, and I wonder what that was about, because in this episode, honestly, yeah, she does get the lockbox eventually off Betty. Betty does hand it over, but I'm wondering if Betty possibly had a look in it first, because she said something about, you know, oh, Hank with his secrets.
Henry, you and your secrets.
And it seems like everyone was actually even scared of Steph back in the day at Vault-Tec, because even Betty says that they're all scared, but it seems that Betty might have a little secrets on Steph that maybe Steph doesn't want bringing out, but it seems like she's going to pay up her end and, you know, give him the water.
You'll get your water.
But it just, I wonder how it's going to play out, because I feel that Steph has a really big ulterior motive in this one, and I'm not too sure eventually what it is, but I think possibly she might have something against America because of the backstory, but who knows. It's going to be really interesting to see how this one plays out. And finally, my little chat about Steph doesn't even imply really with her. It was actually Chet, her partner. Finally, the wedding is about to happen and everything seems to be going swimmingly, and she says, I do, and then Chet looks a little bit anxious and scared and says, I don't, and everyone thinks it's, you know, just pre-wedding jitters and all this. And then I really didn't think he had it in him to do this, and well done. I guess he finally had enough and snapped after, you know, probably piecing together everything about Woody, and just everything just doesn't seem right with Steph, and seeing her license back in the day, and he's had enough. And with all the witnesses around, he's done. And he finally brings it out, and he says to everyone there that he feels that Steph might be involved in Woody's disappearance.
I don't think that Woody is in Vault 31. I think that Steph hurt him.
And they didn't really, they're like, okay, they didn't really care about that too much. But the funny one I found was, as soon as he goes, all right, and then rips out her license and says she's not even American, she's Canadian, everyone seems to lose their mind. And
she's not even from America. She's Canadian.
yeah, go really crazy about that one. And I wonder if that has to do with the resource wars or something to do with that, which actually happened in the Fallout games. But next thing you know, Steph takes off in the wedding dress and ends up locking herself in the overseer's office, and everyone's banging on the door trying to get into her, and she's inside, obviously, you know, racking her brain on what to do, or who knows what she's even thinking. And that's what's going to be funny. Like, it seems like Vault 32 itself has started to implode. So it's really interesting to see how this one's going to play out, or if, you know, maybe the Vault dwellers in 32 are going to take over, or maybe Steph might snap and we might see what she can really is capable of. But who knows with that one, and I can't wait to see that. Now let's get into Hank and Lucy a little bit. When we see these two, we find ourselves back at the Vault-Tec executive headquarters, and it seems to me like Hank is pretty confident in himself that he's been able to manipulate Lucy into, you know, maybe turning to what he likes to. He's full telling her pretty much he's laying out his plan on, or a plan to be able to stop him, you know, showing her the mainframe, telling her what to do. This is what she has to do.
And how do I stop you from making more?
Well, we have to destroy the mainframe which programs the boxes, and that's in the basement.
I still think in his head, he's thinking that he's being able to manipulate her. And honestly, it seemed to me for like a little bit, I thought Lucy was actually going along with the plan, because it seemed like she was enjoying her first ever golf cart ride with her dad. And next thing you know, she pops up in the yellow dress that we've seen her, that she originally woke up in the Vault-Tec headquarters with, like beside her. And yeah, I thought everything was lost on old Lucy, but nothing is lost on old Lucy. Looks out, she did, you know, flip the script on this one on old Hank. And next thing you know, during a little scene that I even thought, I was like, oh, it looks like Hank's actually finally got her and tricked her into be able to take the cuffs off. But no, Lucy tricked him, locked him to the oven, and now she was heading all the way down to the mainframe to be able to destroy the mainframe and stop the control that's happening, or the automated man control that's happening on all the people, which she feels is the right thing to do, even though her dad was like, oh, you know, it may not be, it is good and it is bad, but it is helping a lot of people. So, and Lucy was, yeah, she seemed like she was a little bit okay with that, but nah. In the end, she flipped the script and she was heading straight down, and she was about to destroy the mainframe. But of course, the Fallout universe has always got to flip everything on this head, and it was really interesting to see this one. And it was actual fact, when she opens the door finally, it ends up being that it was the Congresswoman Diane Welch that we've seen in previous episodes. Her head's sitting on a table in the middle of the room with wires all hooked up to it, and it looks like she's actually controlling the mainframe somehow with some sort of like maybe Mr. House technology, or possibly Enclave, which is what I'm sort of leaning towards, because also in a previous little scene in this episode, which got to give him props for, I love myself a little bit of Clancy Brown. He pops up in this episode as playing the President of the United States.
Mr. President, thank you for doing the right thing, son.
And you get this weird Enclave feeling from both of them now. Like at the first start, I thought she was just, you know, another person in the show, but now I really think that the Diana Welch character had a bigger part to play in this whole bombs dropping and everything happened with Cooper Howard, which we actually do get to see in a couple of scenes. But it was awesome to see that Clancy Brown popped in this one. Myself, I love Clancy Brown. I loved him as Sergeant Zim from Starship Troopers.
Put your hand on that wall!
Now this one here I like to call the Three Amigos, and I couldn't wait for this one. This weird little team up of the Ghoul, Maximus and Thaddeus. Now it seems like the Ghoul needs a little bit of help taking down the Deathclaws on the New Vegas Strip, right? So he's decided that he's going to team up with Maximus and Thaddeus, and they're going to take down the Deathclaws, obviously. But they don't have firepower or anything really. So next thing you know, the Ghoul leads them to an old NCR camp, I feel, and leads them into a shed, shows them a bit of stuff, but as well says to Maximus, you ain't gonna get any of this stuff unless, you know, you give me the cold fusion, and yeah, pretty much just give me the cold fusion and everything will be right. We'll get all this stuff, we'll go kill some Deathclaws and everything will be sweet, all right? And then next thing you know, old Maximus, no, he's holding off. He's like, nah, I'm saving this for me girl, Lucy. It's not gonna happen. No, all right? It's not gonna happen. I'm stoic on it, not gonna move. Next thing you know, the Ghoul pulls out, catch 22 on him, cuts away this little bit of rope, and out drops this beautiful NCR power armor. I'm not too sure what variant it is. I've never actually seen this variant. It looks pretty custom and pretty intensely cool, if I might add. It's got blades down the gauntlets, and it's just got all these added features to it. And like, yes, we did actually have in Fallout New Vegas an NCR T45 power armor, but it was nowhere near as cool as this armor. And as soon as Maximus sees this armor, because I was drooling over it, he hands over the cold fusion like easy as. He's like, yeah, right, I'll definitely take that. And next thing you know, now the Ghoul has cold fusion. But the other cool features that we get to see in this little shed that we go into are the other weapons that are in, such as things like this. The NCR Ranger's helmet, we have some frag grenades, some stick grenades, mortars, machine guns, an anti-aircraft gun, probably a couple of them actually, sticks of dynamite. This honestly looks like an M79 grenade rifle that we had in Fallout New Vegas, as well as a hunting rifle which looks just like it should, straight from the game, as well as we have a Gauss rifle that looks similar to the one that we had in Fallout 4, and probably more that I didn't actually get to see or couldn't see. So if you actually see any, drop it down in the comments. I'd love to see any other weapons or Easter eggs that you can find in this little shed. That'd be epic. But now we're moving on. The boys are all kitted up and they're headed for the strip to take down some Deathclaws. But it seems like just as they get there, they lose a member, because poor old Thaddeus happens to lose his arm, and well, he's not going to be able to shoot his rifle and be the sniper position that they want. So it seems like the Ghoul and Maximus are just going in together. Ghoul's got a Gauss rifle and Maximus has got that kick-ass NCR power armor, and they go in, and wow, it was definitely worth the wait. I've been waiting to see this battle since the little snippet we got to see from the first episode that they dropped of this season. Right at the end there was a little snippet of this little battle, and to me it didn't disappoint. It was epic to see Maximus go hand to hand with a Deathclaw, as well as it was cool to see a Gauss rifle, what it would actually do sort of in real life against a Deathclaw, because at one stage it seems like the Ghoul's trying to do a little sneaky and get into the lucky 38 without Maximus seeing, but a Deathclaw happens to see him, starts heading towards him. He's pounding him pretty good with the Gauss rifle, and blowing decent chunks out of him, but Deathclaw's still coming out, and lucky for him, old Maximus, you know, he's a cool dude, he's a good dude. He straight up comes up and hacks that Deathclaw's head off. Next thing you know, the old Ghoul gives him the thank you, and Maximus just charges back into those Deathclaws, like, doesn't really care, and just starts battling. Gotta love Maximus, and that suit is just beautiful, and the way he uses it, it's like, that was definitely the suit of armor for Maximus. But still, in doing so, this is where the Ghoul finds his chance, slips into the lucky 38 with cold fusion, and boom. Now, one of my favorite characters is back. Norm is back. I love this little fella. I don't know, there's just something about him. He's just got heart, and I love him. But poor old Norm has woken up on the floor hearing the Vault-31 dwellers talking about killing him.
Wait, I'm actually pretty sure that the Vault-Tec handbook says that impersonating management is punishable by death.
And next thing you know, they're talking about doing it and all this stuff and happy that he's asleep, and then they see that he's sort of conscious now, awake, wriggling around, maybe able to hear him. And next thing you know, they just walk straight in again and donk him straight on the head with, I'm guessing it looked like a little statue or maybe a bookend or something like that, but knocks him straight on the head, clean out again. Poor old Norm, he's copping a lot of, you know, he lost the first time it was suffocation, so bang, there he goes out. Now he's getting head knocks, bang. But the next time he woke up, at least it was to a friendly face, and it was to Claudia. Seems like the Vault-31 dweller that's not like the others, and sort of has a little thing for Norm, I feel. But she's there to rescue him. She unties him, tells him, we got to get out of here, because obviously they're going to do some bad stuff to him. But before he goes, he says, I just need to do one thing. He runs in and jumps on a radio. I'm thinking shooting a message out. Hopefully Lucy is listening. Shoot the message out to her, ask for help. And then next thing you know, he jumps on just before he goes and shoots out a message and literally asks his dad, like, what happened, why he didn't tell him about the virus, and what's actually going to happen to, you know, Vault 33 now. Like, that was crazy enough. But then, you know, poor old Norm, he just doesn't go when he should, and his luck run out on that one, and boom, the Vault 31 people found him, and again, that's it for Norm. We don't know what happened. He was having a pretty good little Mexican stare off with old mate that was, you know, sort of knocked him on the head, so maybe, you know, Norm might do a little bit of Rambo stuff and pop up and snap kick him in the jaw. doubtful, but it would be good if you snapped and maybe got a little bit of wasteland aside. And last but not least, finally we get to see the Ghoul enter the lucky 38 and go to the top. And it's interesting to see that he's doing this because obviously, he's done it before, he knows where to go. And I didn't think he expected what he's seen when he got to the top, because obviously when he got to the top, yeah, there was no signal on Mr. House's computer. The place had been torn up, looked like there'd been a bit of a battle happening. He seemed a bit shocked himself, but of course he's got the little trick up his sleeve of having the cold fusion on him, doesn't he? So that's the thing that's coming out of this one now is, obviously the Ghoul's gonna, probably wake up Mr. House, or I'm not too sure, turn him back on, I'm guessing, put the cold fusion on him, which he does, and then I'm guessing once it starts, he's gonna ask him the question. But the way I see it with Mr. House is you're never gonna win with Mr. House, because the way he looks at it, the house always wins. But what Coop, or not Coop, what the Ghoul's gonna ask him. He's gonna ask him, he needs to know where that vault is. Mr. House is gonna be like, all right, but I need you to do something for me first. And it's never gonna be easy, or it's gonna be pretty intense. Then that's gonna be the whole thing. Are we actually even gonna see the Ghoul get to his family in this season, or is it gonna be in the next season? This is gonna be crazy. But it was interesting to see enough that bang, he starts up Mr. House. Mr. House pops up, goes, hello, old chum, and wow. It's going to be interesting to see how this one turns out because, well, honestly, it doesn't look like Mr. House has really got any security anymore around him because that looks all destroyed. The Deathclaws took them out on the strip, and even the ones that are in his penthouse look destroyed, and maybe he might be a little bit better seen as the only one that can really help him out at the moment is the Ghoul. And the way I look at it, well, if he's not going to help you out, just pull the cold fusion out, mate. Just don't worry about it. Just turn him off. It's fine. It's like he's a big computer. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Then my final thoughts are, I actually really love this episode. I think this episode has been one of my favorites out of this season. I feel like, yeah, the NCR power armor really topped it off for me because I really like the NCR helmets back in the day when playing Fallout New Vegas, and just to see one on the power armor like that was pretty epic to see. And as well as I feel that this episode was all about really setup, reveals, and massive consequences. It was just insane, Steph's backstory. Norm, is he gonna be okay? Who knows? What's Steph's real plans with the Vault? What's Mr. House actually gonna ask for off the Ghoul now that he's awake? What's actually gonna happen? And it's crazy how they're all just gonna push this in a couple of more episodes just to see what's gonna happen. But I wanna hear what your thoughts about this episode. What do you think about it? Drop it down in the comments and let me know. And I'd just like to say quickly, thank you to all my subs for liking and watching my videos. I love you all. And anyone that's new that's watching that's made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. Maybe jump over to my channel and check out some of my videos. You might just like them. And as usual, I'll catch you on the next one.